a colonial flag snapping in violent wind, boots marching on cobblestone, Patrick Henry's face, eyes burning, mouth open, a crowd of citizens raising their fists, a mother pulling her children close, fire reflected in a river at night. The chorus vocal hits, "Give me liberty or give me death."
This is WeOTV. We're Eyeing Our World Television Network.
Real stories, timeless melodies, lasting legacies. History comes to life through music and storytelling.
Down the dusty roads of Williamsburg, where the cobblestones remember every word, the blacksmith and the baker feel the weight of a king who rules from across the water's gate. A mother holds her child beside the door, wondering what tomorrow has in store. But in the taverns where the candles burn low, a voice is rising with a fire-lit glow. Give me liberty or give me death. Those words still carry Patrick Henry's breath. In 1776 we dared to dream that freedom isn't just a distant thing. Rise up, Williamsburg, stand tall and true. The blood of patriots is running through you. Every soul who worked and prayed and bled planted seeds of freedom where they tread. The silversmith lays down his tools tonight. The merchant's daughter prays they choose to fight. Old men who weathered storms of doubt and fear lean in close when Patrick Henry's near. He stands before the house of Burgesses proud, his thunder rolling like a summer cloud. His life so dear, a peace so sweet, he cries that we would trade our souls for chains and lies. Give me liberty or give me death. Those words still carry Patrick Henry's breath. In 1776 we dared to dream that freedom isn't just a distant thing. Rise up, Williamsburg, stand tall and true. The blood of patriots is running through you. Every soul who worked and prayed and bled planted seeds of freedom where they tread. The tavern keeper pours another round for men who dare to stand on holy ground. The school teacher writes the words by candlelight. The soldier laces up his boots to fight. They weren't just names carved into stone. They were flesh and blood and heart and bone. They were scared and brave and broken and strong, and they knew that they could not stay silent long. Along the Duke of Gloucester's cobbled way, ordinary people chose extraordinary days. They traded comfort for a noble cause and dared to dream of rights beyond these laws. From the governor's palace to the public green, the greatest revolution history's seen was born not just in hearts of famous men, but in the people who would not bend. Give me liberty or give me death. We carry on with every single breath. In 1776 they lit a flame, and nothing in this world was ever the same. Rise up, Williamsburg, your story lives in the freedom that each generation gives. Every soul who worked and prayed and bled still walks among the living, not the dead. So lift your voice like Patrick Henry did, from every mother's heart and every child. The spirit of that town still burns today, because brave souls refuse to look away. Give me liberty, give me liberty, or give me death, or give me death. Is life so dear, or peace so sweet, as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God!
Close. Fire reflected in a river at night. The chorus vocal hits, "Give me liberty or give me death." Before the sun fully rises over the tidewater marshes of eastern Virginia, the town of Williamsburg is already stirring. It is the year 1776. The American colonies are at war with the most powerful empire on earth. And right here, in this modest capital city of Virginia, some of the most consequential decisions in human history are being made. But between the grand speeches and the declarations of principle, real people wake up every morning. They milk cows, they bake bread, they argue with their neighbors, they pray, they worry about money. This is the story of one day in Williamsburg, Virginia, in the year that changed everything. Williamsburg in 1776 is a city of roughly 1,800 permanent residents, though the number swells dramatically when the General Assembly is in session. The town was laid out with remarkable intention. A mile-long main street, 99 feet wide, connecting the Capitol building to the east with the College of William and Mary to the west. The Palace Green runs north from the main street toward the governor's palace, though by 1776 there is no royal governor living there. He has fled. The era of colonial rule is crumbling, and the people of Williamsburg can feel it in the air, like a coming thunderstorm. But we cannot tell the story of this town honestly without acknowledging the truth that sits at the center of it. Nearly half of the people living in Williamsburg and the surrounding areas are enslaved African Americans. They cook the food, tend the fires, build the structures, raise the children, and make the entire economic and domestic life of this colonial capital possible. Their story is inseparable from every other story told here. We will not separate it. At the center of Williamsburg's spiritual and social life stands Bruton Parish Church. Built of brick in 1715, this Anglican church is not just a place of worship. It is the beating heart of the community's civic identity. It is where marriages are recorded and celebrated, where the dead are eulogized and buried, where announcements are made, political relationships are formed, and the social order of the colony is reinforced every single Sunday. The church operates under the Church of England, the Anglican faith, and church attendance is not merely a personal spiritual choice, it is a legal and social expectation. Virginia law through most of the colonial period required attendance at the parish church. Your standing in the community is tied directly to your presence in that pew, and pews are not created equal. The wealthy families of Williamsburg, the Randolphs, the Blairs, the Nicholases, sit in the enclosed box pews near the front. These pews are privately owned and can be bought, sold, and passed down through inheritance. Some families spend enormous sums to secure favorable seating. Lesser tradespeople, apprentices, and poor white residents sit toward the back on open benches. Free black residents, and there are a small number in Williamsburg by 1776, occupy the gallery above, separate from the white congregation below. Enslaved people, if they attend at all, stand in the back or sit in the galleries. The church that preaches the equal love of God arranges its seating to reflect the social hierarchy of the world outside its doors. In 1776, the rector of Bruton Parish is Reverend Thomas Gwatkin, though he will soon leave for England, deeply conflicted about the Revolution. His predecessor, Reverend James Madison, cousin to the future president, will return from England to take his place, a patriot minister for a patriot congregation. The service follows the liturgy of the Book of Common Prayer. Every Williamsburg resident who attends knows these words by heart. The general confession, the Lord's Prayer, the psalms sung in the old way, without musical accompaniment at first, though by 1776 the church has a small organ. The service follows the liturgy of the Book of Common Prayer. Every Williamsburg resident who attends knows these words by heart. The general confession, the Lord's Prayer, the psalms sung in the old way, without musical accompaniment at first, though by 1776 the church has a small organ. The sermon is the centerpiece of Sunday worship, and in 1776, sermons carry explosive political weight. Throughout the colonies, ministers are stepping into the pulpit and framing the revolution in the language of Scripture. Is it Christian to resist a tyrannical king? Many Virginia ministers say yes, drawing on passages from Romans, from the prophets, from the Exodus story of a people delivered from bondage. The irony of that last metaphor is not lost on everyone in the room. Beyond Sunday services, Bruton Parish Church touches every moment of life in Williamsburg. Baptisms happen here within days of a child's birth. Marriages are announced from the pulpit 3 Sundays in a row, called the reading of the banns, before the wedding takes place. Funerals bring the whole community together in the churchyard, where the dead are buried close together in the soft Virginia soil. The vestry, the governing board of the church made up of the wealthiest men in the parish, also serves as the local welfare system. They care for orphans, manage the affairs of the poor, and oversee moral discipline in the community. If you are caught living in open adultery or missing church repeatedly, the vestry takes notice. By 7 in the morning, Williamsburg is alive with work. The town is lined with the shops and homes of skilled tradespeople, the backbone of the colonial economy. Their lives are neither the grand drama of the statesman nor the brutal labor of the enslaved field worker. They occupy the complicated middle of colonial society, and in 1776 they are deeply invested in the outcome of the Revolution. The blacksmith is one of the most essential workers in any colonial town. In Williamsburg, some smiths are free white craftsmen who own their own shops, but a significant number of the skilled tradespeople, blacksmiths, carpenters, coopers, shoemakers, are enslaved men whose labor is hired out by their owners for a fee. The owner collects the wages. The worker might receive a small allowance or nothing at all. By 1776, the demand for ironwork has skyrocketed. Weapons, tools, horseshoes for the Continental Army. The shop never goes quiet. Down the street, the printing office runs at full capacity. William Rhines's Virginia Gazette and its rival paper of the same name are the primary sources of news for the colony. In 1776, the presses are working overtime. The Declaration of Independence, after its adoption in Philadelphia in July, will be printed and distributed throughout Virginia within days. People will gather in the streets to hear it read aloud because many cannot read, and the reaction will be an explosion of celebration, fear, and uncertainty. The apothecary serves as the town's doctor, pharmacist, and medical authority all in one. In 1776, medicine is primitive by modern standards, but sophisticated by the standards of the age. The apothecary stocks imported drugs, Peruvian bark for fever, laudanum for pain, calomel for almost everything, alongside local remedies using Virginia plants that Native Americans have used for generations. Diseases that barely inconvenience us today are killers here. Smallpox is a constant terror. Dysentery moves through households like a shadow. Childhood mortality is heartbreaking. Roughly 1 in 5 children born in colonial Virginia will not live to see their 5th birthday. Women's labor keeps this town alive. Free white women manage the household economy with fierce competence, preserving food, making candles and soap, managing servants and enslaved workers, nursing the sick, educating young children. Some widows run their late husbands' businesses, taverns, shops, small farms, with remarkable skill. Enslaved women carry an even heavier load, performing all of this domestic labor for someone else's household, while maintaining whatever family and community life they can manage in the hours that remain. Is Bruton Parish Church is the spiritual center of Williamsburg. The Raleigh Tavern is its political and social heart. Named after Sir Walter Raleigh, the Raleigh Tavern on Duke of Gloucester Street is the finest public house in Virginia. Its Apollo Room, a large, handsomely decorated chamber, has hosted more history per square foot than almost any room in America. When Royal Governor Dunmore dissolved the Virginia House of Burgesses in 1774, trying to silence the growing rebellion, the Burgesses simply walked down the street to the Raleigh Tavern and kept meeting. The revolution was, in part, planned at these tables over Madeira wine and roasted meats. George Washington drank here. Thomas Jefferson discussed philosophy and politics here. Patrick Henry worked a room here with the confidence of a man who knew he had a gift for language and was not shy about using it. The tavern serves multiple meals a day. Breakfast might be cornbread, salt pork, and coffee or tea, though by 1776, many patriots have boycotted British tea in favor of coffee or local substitutes. The midday meal, the main meal of the day, might include roasted Virginia ham, cornbread, sweet potatoes, some form of game, rabbit, venison, wild turkey, and a pot of something long simmered on the hearth. Food here is local, seasonal, and abundant for those who can pay for it. The ingredients are mostly grown within a day's ride of town. In 1776, the political conversation in this tavern has an urgency that cuts through the normal noise of daily life. Virginia is about to make history. In May of 1776, the Virginia Convention, meeting in the Capitol building just down the street, will adopt the Virginia Declaration of Rights, written by George Mason. It is one of the most remarkable documents in the history of human freedom, declaring that all men are by nature equally free and independent and have certain inherent rights. Those words will echo directly into Thomas Jefferson's draft of the Declaration of Independence just weeks later. And yet the men writing and debating these words own other human beings. They know it. Some are troubled by it. Most have constructed elaborate justifications for why this can be resolved later, or cannot be resolved at all. It is the great unfinished sentence of the American founding, and Williamsburg, in 1776, is the place where the contradiction is felt most acutely. Walk behind the fine houses of Williamsburg, and you enter a different world entirely. This is where the enslaved community lives, in small wooden outbuildings, often called dependencies, clustered behind the main houses. The kitchen is separate from the main house, partly for fire safety and partly to keep the heat and noise and labor invisible from the formal rooms where the owners entertain. The cuisine of colonial Virginia is in large part African cuisine. The women who cook in these separate kitchens bring with them or inherit from mothers and grandmothers the knowledge of West African cooking. The okra in the stew, the technique of frying, the use of cast iron, the seasoning with pepper and herbs. This is knowledge that crossed the Atlantic in the minds and hands of enslaved people. The white families who eat this food and call it Virginia cooking are eating the culture of people they hold in bondage. In the hours between the end of one day's labor and the beginning of the next, the enslaved community of Williamsburg builds and sustains a world of its own. They maintain family bonds across property lines. An enslaved man might be owned by one household, but have a wife and children owned by a neighbor. Sunday afternoons, if granted, are precious time for these visits. They pass down oral histories, spiritual practices, and knowledge of plants and medicine. The Baptist faith is spreading rapidly through the black community in Virginia by the 1770s, a Christianity reinterpreted through the lens of bondage and longing for liberation that is entirely their own. In November of 1775, Virginia's royal governor, Lord Dunmore, issues a proclamation that shakes the colony to its core, offering freedom to any enslaved person who escapes their patriot master and joins British forces. Hundreds of enslaved Virginians take him up on it. They walk through the night, cross rivers, risk everything. Some join the Ethiopian regiment, black soldiers fighting under a banner that reads, "Liberty to slaves." For the enslaved people of Williamsburg in 1776, the revolution is not a straightforward story of freedom versus tyranny. It is a chessboard where every move must be calculated with care. Who offers real freedom? The British who made the proclamation, but also built the slave trade? Or the patriots who write about liberty, but own them? There is no clean answer. There is only the choice each person makes in the dark. As the day ends in Williamsburg, the pace slows but never truly stops. In the fine houses, families gather for the evening meal around 6 or 7 o'clock, the second main meal of the day. Candles are lit. The table is set with pewter, or in wealthier homes, silver. Wine is poured. The food that arrives from the kitchen, carried by enslaved workers, is generous and rich. After dinner, men of means might return to the tavern for conversation and drink. Women manage the household's evening, making sure children are put to bed, accounts are reviewed, the fire is banked for the night, and locks are checked. Women manage the household's evening, making sure children are put to bed, accounts are reviewed, the fire is banked for the night, and locks are checked. Women manage the household's evening, making sure children are put to bed, accounts are reviewed, the fire is banked for the night, and locks are checked. In the outbuildings, the enslaved workers eat what remains from the household's meal, plus their own provisions, cornmeal, salt pork, the garden vegetables they are sometimes allowed to grow for themselves. In the outbuildings, the enslaved workers eat what remains from the household's meal, plus their own provisions, cornmeal, salt pork, the garden vegetables they are sometimes allowed to grow for themselves. The church bell rings the hour. In a town without electric light, the coming of darkness changes everything. Most residents are in bed by 9 or 10 o'clock. The workday begins again before sunrise. Williamsburg in 1776 is a town holding two enormous things in tension at the same time. On one hand, the birth of something genuinely new in the world, ideas about human rights, representative government, and individual liberty that will shape the next 250 years of history are being written and argued and refined in this town's rooms, taverns, and churches. On the other hand, a social order built on the forced labor of human beings, on the inherited privileges of class and race, on the exclusion of women from public life, on a prosperity purchased at an enormous moral cost. The people who live here are not abstractions or symbols. They are people. They are afraid of the dark. They love their children. They worry about the harvest. They argue with their neighbors. They pray for courage and get out of bed every morning and try to do what seems right to them, within the world as they understand it. That world is being remade in 1776, imperfectly, violently, with breathtaking courage and breathtaking hypocrisy, often in the same breath. To walk the streets of Williamsburg in that year is to walk inside the most complicated question America has ever asked itself. What does it actually mean for everyone to be free? Williamsburg, Virginia served as the colonial capital until 1780, when the capital was moved to Richmond. Colonial Williamsburg today preserves and interprets 301 acres of the original 18th century city. The stories of the enslaved men and women who built and sustained colonial Virginia are actively researched and told by historians and descendants working to ensure their lives are never forgotten.